welcome back to, ready?
Mad Science!
We are so happy you joined us this week. This week we are going to be doing an egg in vinegar experiment. So all you will need for this experiment is a cup. Harley is going to show you. You'll need some vinegar and an egg. So gather up your materials and we'll meet you back here in just a second. See you shortly. Okay friends, so Miss Brady here, and then my assistant Harley is over here to the side. We have the camera angled down so that you can really see what's going on in our cup.
Yeah, if we make expressions, you can't see us because...
Yeah, it's true. You can't see our expressions, so sorry. No, can't see it. All right, so we have our cup, and what we're going to do first is fill it up with some vinegar. So we have a big old jug of white vinegar because I use white vinegar a lot at home. So we're just going to pour that into the cup and fill her up. We're going to leave a little bit of space at the top so we can make sure we have room for the egg.
Yeah.
So then we're going to take our egg and we're going to very gently place it in the vinegar. Would you like to do that, Assistant Harley? Very gently.
Just try
and I want you to make sure that you really pay attention to what's happening when you put it in there, because right away you're going to see a reaction, a chemical reaction. So, as you can see, there are little bubbles that are forming already. And so those little bubbles are the chemical reaction that we are looking for. So what's happening with these little bubbles is that inside of the vinegar is something called acetic acid. And the shell of the egg is made up of calcium carbonate. When the acetic acid from the vinegar meets the calcium carbonate, it causes a reaction and it releases those little bubbles, which are bubbles of carbon dioxide, which is a type of gas. So it's releasing the bubbles right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually let this sit at least overnight. Ours has been sitting for about a day and a half. So we're going to cut right back and I'm going to show you what you can expect to happen to your egg after it sits overnight.
Yeah, if you look really closely, there might be tiny little tiny dots on it.
Okay friends, welcome back. So we did this experiment with an egg to let it sit a little bit longer so that you could see what will happen. So ours has been sitting in the vinegar cup for about a day and a half. I put it in the night before last. So it's been in there for a while. And as you can see, it has a lot of bubbles all over the egg. Mm-hmm. And it kind of looks a little bit different, right? So if we compare this egg to this egg, it looks a lot different, doesn't it? Does the color look different?
This has been sitting in, and it's like dissolved all the eggshell off. It's kind of like a hard-boiled egg. When you peel it off, it's yellow.
Yeah. So you can see right away, we can use one of our observation skills and one of our senses to see that the eggs are different colors. Interesting. So once you pull your egg out of the cup, I have a plate here just to be extra careful. And it's going to be really slippery, so you want to do it really carefully because it's going to be really slippery. Would you like to pull it out, or would you like me to pull it out, Harley?
I want to try to pull it out.
Okay. I'm going to have a paper towel handy so we can clean it off. Too slippery?
Can't pull it out.
All right, I'll pull it out.
Ugh.
All right. So I'm going to pull it out, and the stuff that's on the outside of it is actually the remnants of the shell. It looks kind of gross and creepy. Perfect time of the year for gross and creepy, right?
Yeah, because it's almost October.
So what you're going to do is you might have to kind of rub some of those remnants of shell off, but then you can just take a paper towel really gently and just kind of wipe it off, and then we'll get a really good look at it.
To you guys, just make sure you have a dose of revision because you don't want to, like, if you accidentally pop it in the cup, you just want adult supervision.
Okay, careful. All right, so first of all, let's look and see how they look different. So here's how they look different. So this is the egg that has been sitting in the vinegar, and this is a fresh egg. We know that we can see that they're different colors. What else can we see that's different about these eggs?
That this one
Let me hold it.
is bigger.
It's bigger.
Smaller.
That's interesting. It's bigger. So what that tells me is that while this egg was sitting in the vinegar, not only was the vinegar eating away at the shell, but this egg was also kind of soaking up some of the vinegar. Wow. What do they feel like, Harley? Can you gently feel these and tell us what they feel like, how they feel different?
So this one feels a little bit smoother because it is from oil, and this one feels cold because it's been in the fridge, duh.
Yeah.
But this is very hard.
So this one's hard. Is this one softer?
Yeah, and you have to be very careful with this one because if you splat it like this,
right? Yeah.
then it could like explode. But if you splat it really carefully from this far,
I don't have that part yet. So if you look at this one, you can see I can kind of squeeze it. It's kind of bouncy, whereas I can't really do that with a hard egg, right? So this one is softer than the regular egg. Another really cool thing is you can kind of see through this one almost. It's like almost see-through. Pretty weird, huh? See if I can get it up close to the camera. So it's squishy, it's yellow, and you can almost see through it. If you put a flashlight up to it, you'd be able to see the yolk in the middle of it. So you can use lots of scientific observation skills to see how these eggs are different from one another, even though they both started like this. If you left the vinegar, or if you left your egg in the vinegar for even longer, it would probably get even a little bit bigger. So the longer you leave it in there, the more it's going to kind of soak up some of the substance that it's in. So let's see if we can see through it with a flashlight. So if we put a flashlight on it, it kind of looks like a cool little orb.
if you guys, it
Pretty
looks
neat.
like a light. It's on camera.
So let's see what would happen if we put a flashlight in the other egg.
They do the same thing. It's just this one.
Kind of cool.
Has tiny little dots on it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit harder to see through it. Pretty neat. So, the most fun part of this experiment is that we get to test and see what happens if we drop it on the plate. Now, before we do that, what would happen if we dropped this egg on a plate? We just got it out of the refrigerator. What would happen if I just went bloop and dropped it on the plate?
It would break and be like.
It would definitely
So
break, right?
you don't want to try that at all.
Yeah. So if we just dropped this egg, it would crack open, right? Well, now that we have this one sitting in vinegar, let's see what happens if we drop it. I'm going to drop it really carefully. Ah!
Didn't break.
It bounces. Weird.
But just try not to do it high because you don't know if it's going to break.
So a cool thing that you can do is to see how high you can drop your egg. That might be more fun to do outside. I bet Mom and Dad would probably appreciate it if you did it outside. But you can see like, ooh, how high can I hold this up for it to drop and bounce? So we kind of made a rubber egg. Isn't that weird? Now eventually it would break. If you drop it from super high, it will still break. And it still has the yolk inside of it. So it's just like a regular egg. We just kind of soaked off the shell. But you wouldn't want to eat this egg. It wouldn't taste very good if you cooked it. So this part that is holding together the insides of the egg, it's inside of this as well. So sometimes when you break open an egg, you can see that softer part right inside before you get to the egg white and the egg yolk. That's what this is. It's called a membrane. So this membrane is still intact. That means it's still there, but the hard shell on the outside is not there anymore. So now it's just this membrane that's holding all the egg together. Pretty cool, huh? So definitely try this at home. It is super fun. It's a great experiment to do. It's fun to watch the eggs to see how they change over a couple of days even. The longer you leave it in there, maybe the more it will bounce. So maybe you could try like 1 egg for 1 day and put another egg in and leave it for 2 days or 3 days and see what the difference is. See if the longer you leave it in, does it become more bouncy? Does it become more fragile? Does it get bigger? Does it get smaller ever? And see what happens. It's a pretty cool experiment. So we want to see, let's see how high we can drop it from before it splats. We don't want to leave you without that part.
Yeah, but we might want to try this over the sink. We should try it over the sink.
Try it. Oh, okay. A little higher. Oh!
I'm so scared.
A little higher. There it splatted. So this piece, this is that membrane that was holding all of the egg goop inside of the egg.
Ugh.
Pretty cool. All right, friends. Let us know if you try this experiment out and see if you find any differences in the other eggs. All right, guys, thanks for joining us for our egg and vinegar challenge. We hope that you'll come back and join us again next week for Mad Science! Bye, guys.